So for example, you're trying to find a limit, right? And you're simplifying and you run into what would that be simplified to? So why should it not be x? So let's say x squared square root of x squared, right? So if I have 2, what is this? So it is always 2. Square root 4 is a number, which is 2. If you had to have plus or minus, then you would be saying plus or minus square root 4 if you're trying to solve a problem. And I'm going to show you in a moment. But square root of 4 is always positive. So if on the number line, and I want to indicate square root of 2, where will you indicate that? Would it be here and here, or there's only one place where square root of 2 exists? So square root of 2 is just here. This thing that exists here is negative of square root of 2, right? So square root of 2 is only 1.414 and so on, and it only exists here. It's a positive number. And the negative of square root of 2 is the negative counterpart of that. That's what I'm trying to highlight here. Okay, so what I mean to say is, let's say I have an equation, say x squared equals 3, right? And I want to solve it. There are a few different ways you could solve it. One, you can directly look at it and tell me, but let's say I bring the 3 over there, right? Now, can I factor it? So x plus times x minus, right? So since the product is 0, one of these has to be 0. So if x plus square root of 3 is 0, then x is negative root 3, right? And if this is 0, then x is positive root 3. So there are two solutions. There's a plus root 3 and there's a negative root 3. But root 3 is only the plus root 3. Root 3 is the 1.732, so on. That is a positive number. The negative of that is the negative number. So square root of 4 is only 2. It's not plus or minus 2. Okay, negative of square root of 4 will be negative 2. So here, if I try a different value, let's say negative 3. What is square of x? 9. Square root of x squared is square root of 9, which is
3.
3. Let me also put here absolute value of x, right? If x is 2, what's the absolute value of x? And if x is negative 3, what's the absolute value of x? 3. Now you can see that this and this are not equal, because here it's 3 and here it is negative 3, right? But these two are equal. Okay, so this is an important thing to remember. And because particularly what will happen in limits is because of if we miss this, we would get the sign of the limit as opposite. So if we were going to get, say, negative infinity, we might get positive infinity if we're not careful. But you could also use this. So you could always substitute one for the other. If you have roots x squared, you can write absolute value of x. And if you have absolute value of x and you're trying to work with, and sometimes absolute value makes things messy, you can replace that with square root of x squared if that simplifies things for you. Remember, the square root, when you're taking square root of something, the answer of that has to be positive. Also, what you're taking the square root of, that also has to be positive for real numbers. And the result is also positive. When you're solving something like this, you can get a positive or negative answer. But if you get a root, the root itself is positive.